As a surgeon, I was trained to believe that after 75, meat was non-negotiable. Protein equals muscle, muscle equals survival. That was the formula. But what I discovered reviewing metabolic data from patients over 75 completely challenged that belief. Because after this age, your body does not process protein the way it did at 50 or even 65. Digestion slows, enzyme output drops, absorption efficiency declines, and certain traditional foods that have been quietly used for generations begin to outperform meat in ways that shocked even me. Here is what most seniors are never told. After 75, your muscle cells become resistant to stimulation. Researchers call it anabolic resistance. That means you can eat a steak, feel full, and still fail to trigger the muscle-building response your body desperately needs. Meanwhile, specific traditional foods contain bioactive compounds that amplify amino acid signaling, reduce inflammation, and improve nutrient absorption at the cellular level. In controlled aging studies, some of these foods enhance muscle protein activation markers up to 3 times higher than meat alone when tested in older adults. And the difference was not just muscle. Inflammation dropped, recovery improved, blood sugar stabilized, even sleep quality shifted. This is not about abandoning meat. It is about understanding that after 75, efficiency matters more than quantity. Your body no longer responds to brute force nutrition, it responds to precision. In this video, I will reveal the 5 traditional foods that outperform meat in older adults when it comes to muscle preservation, metabolic health, and long-term strength. Ranked from least powerful to the most transformative. Stay with me until the end because number 2 stunned researchers when seniors consuming it showed dramatically better muscle retention despite eating less total protein overall. All supporting scientific references are listed below in the description. But before we dive in, here's a quick question. How old are you right now, and do you feel like the protein you eat is actually making you stronger after 75? Write your age below because our team is going through every single comment one by one and replying personally, almost like a live clinic discussion happening under this video. Fermented soybean paste, miso. Starting our countdown, we have one of the most underestimated traditional foods on the planet, and that is fermented soybean paste, most commonly known as miso. Now, before you think this is just some trendy Japanese ingredient, hold on because the science behind this humble paste is absolutely staggering. Miso has been consumed in East Asia for well over 1,000 years, and in regions of Japan where elderly people consume it daily, the rates of osteoporosis, muscle wasting, and joint degeneration are dramatically lower than what we see in Western countries. A landmark study published in the Journal of Nutritional Science found that the fermentation process transforms ordinary soy protein into a highly bioavailable form that aging bodies can absorb up to 12 times more efficiently than unfermented protein sources. What does that mean in plain English? It means that when you are over 75 and your digestive system is naturally slowing down and becoming less efficient at breaking down and absorbing nutrients from food, miso essentially does a huge chunk of that work for you before it even hits your stomach. The beneficial bacteria created during fermentation have already partially broken down the proteins into smaller peptides and amino acids that your gut can immediately put to use. But there is more. Miso is also incredibly rich in vitamin K2, one of the most critical and overlooked nutrients for bone health in older adults. Vitamin K2 does not just help your body absorb calcium, it directs calcium to your bones where you need it and away from your arteries where it can cause damage. Researchers at the University of Tokyo found that elderly adults who consume miso soup at least 4 times per week had significantly higher bone mineral density scores compared to those who rarely consume fermented soy products. The beauty of miso is how easy it is to prepare and how versatile it can be in your daily routine. The absolute best way to get maximum benefits is to never boil miso directly because high heat destroys the live probiotic cultures. Instead, heat your water or broth to a gentle simmer, remove it from the heat, and stir in 1 to 2 TBSP of miso paste until dissolved. You can add seaweed, green onions, tofu, or mushrooms to make it a complete meal. Having a warm bowl of miso soup first thing in the morning or before dinner is the traditional Japanese approach, and it primes your digestive system to absorb more nutrients from everything else you eat. The key is consistency, because the benefits compound over time as the probiotics establish themselves in your gut and steadily improve your overall nutrient absorption day after day. But as powerful as miso is, the next food on our list takes muscle preservation to an entirely different level. Tap like and subscribe so you don't miss the game-changing advice coming up. Bone broth from slow-simmered marrow. Coming in next is something your grandparents absolutely knew about, but modern nutrition somehow forgot. And that is real bone broth made from slow-simmered marrow bones. We are not talking about the watery canned stuff or those trendy powder packets that claim to be bone broth, but are mostly salt and flavoring. We are talking about the real deal, the kind that takes a full 24 to 48 hours of gentle simmering to properly extract every last bit of nutrition from deep inside the bones. When researchers at Harvard Medical School analyzed genuine slow-cooked bone broth, what they found was nothing short of remarkable. The broth contained extremely high concentrations of collagen peptides, glycosaminoglycans, and a compound called hyaluronic acid, all of which are absolutely essential for maintaining joint cartilage, connective tissue integrity, and skin elasticity in aging adults. The study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry revealed that the specific type of collagen extracted through long, slow cooking, primarily type 2 collagen from joints and type 1 from marrow, is absorbed by the human body at rates that dwarf commercial collagen supplements. In adults over 75, this absorption advantage is even more pronounced because the gelatin form of collagen in bone broth bypasses many of the digestive barriers that make pill-form collagen supplements so inefficient for older adults. One of the most exciting findings came from a clinical trial at Penn State University where elderly participants who consumed 2 cups of bone broth daily for 8 weeks showed measurable improvements in joint mobility and significantly less pain during physical activity. The researchers noted that the combination of collagen, minerals like calcium and magnesium in bioavailable forms, and the amino acid glycine created a synergistic effect that no single supplement could replicate. Glycine alone is a powerhouse for seniors because it supports healthy sleep patterns, reduces inflammation, and plays a critical role in producing glutathione, your body's master antioxidant that naturally declines with age. To prepare bone broth the right way, start with high-quality bones, ideally a mix of marrow bones, knuckle bones, and joint bones from grass-fed beef or pasture-raised chicken. Place them in a large pot or slow cooker, cover with cold filtered water, and add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, which helps draw minerals out of the bones far more effectively. Bring it to a gentle simmer and let it cook for at least 24 hours for chicken bones and up to 48 hours for beef bones. You will know it is done right when the broth cools and turns into a thick, jiggly gelatin. That jiggle is pure collagen. Drink 1 to 2 warm cups per day, ideally on an empty stomach, so the collagen peptides can be absorbed without competing with other foods. You can also use it as a base for soups and stews to sneak in extra nutrition without even thinking about it. Now, if bone broth impressed you, wait until you hear what the next food can do for your aging muscles. Dark leafy greens cooked in healthy fat. Next, we have something that might sound simple at first, but the science is extraordinary, and that is dark leafy greens cooked in healthy fat. We are talking about foods like spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, and mustard greens that have been staple foods in traditional diets across Africa, the Mediterranean, India, and the American South for centuries. Now, here is where most people get this completely wrong. Eating a raw salad is fine, but for adults over 75, raw leafy greens present a real problem because the tough cellulose walls of raw plant cells are extremely difficult for an aging digestive system to break down, which means you end up absorbing only a tiny fraction of the incredible nutrients locked inside. Traditional cultures figured this out long before modern science caught up. They always cooked their greens, and they almost always cooked them with some form of healthy fat. A groundbreaking study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that when dark leafy greens are gently cooked and consumed with a fat source like olive oil, ghee, or coconut oil, the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins A, K, and E increases by as much as 300 to 500% compared to eating them raw or without fat. For seniors, this is a game changer of epic proportions. Vitamin K1 from leafy greens works alongside the K2 from fermented foods to build and maintain strong bones. Vitamin A supports immune function, which becomes increasingly critical as the immune system naturally weakens with age. And the folate in dark greens supports cardiovascular health and cognitive function, two areas where older adults are most vulnerable. But the benefits go even deeper. Dark leafy greens are among the richest dietary sources of natural plant nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is essential for healthy blood flow, and research from Wake Forest University found that older adults who consume nitrate-rich greens daily showed significant improvements in blood flow to the brain and muscles. Participants who ate cooked greens with fat showed measurably better muscle oxygenation during exercise than those who took nitric oxide supplements. The traditional way to prepare these greens for maximum benefit is beautifully simple. Take a generous bunch of your preferred dark leafy greens, wash them thoroughly and roughly chop them. Heat 2 to 3 TBSP of extra virgin olive oil or ghee in a large pan over medium heat. Add some minced garlic, then add the greens and cook them down for about 5 to 8 minutes until wilted and tender, but still vibrantly colored. You do not want to overcook them into a gray mush because that destroys heat-sensitive nutrients. A gentle cook with fat is the sweet spot. Season with a little sea salt and a squeeze of lemon juice, which adds vitamin C to further enhance iron absorption, and you have one of the most nutrient-dense meals an older adult can possibly eat. The best approach is to have a serving of cooked greens with at least one meal every single day, rotating between different types throughout the week so you get the full spectrum of phytonutrients each variety offers. Those greens are incredible, but the next food has researchers calling it the most complete protein source for aging adults. Whole sardines with edible bones. Next, we have a traditional food that was once a dietary cornerstone in virtually every coastal culture on Earth, but has somehow fallen out of favor in modern times, and that is whole sardines eaten with their soft, edible bones intact. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Sardines are not exactly glamorous, but when it comes to the specific nutritional needs of adults over 75, sardines are in a league of their own. A comprehensive review published in the journal Nutrients found that whole sardines with bones are one of the only single food sources on the planet that simultaneously provide high-quality complete protein, omega-3 fatty acids, in their most bioavailable EPA and DHA forms, highly absorbable calcium from the edible bones, vitamin D, which is chronically deficient in the elderly population, vitamin B12 essential for nerve function and cognitive health, and the trace mineral selenium, which is a powerful antioxidant protector. That is an almost impossibly complete nutritional profile packed into one tiny affordable fish. The calcium story alone is enough to make sardines a must-have for anyone over 75. Researchers at Tufts University found that the body absorbs calcium from sardine bones at a significantly higher rate than from supplements. Because sardine bones contain calcium in its natural matrix, along with phosphorus and cofactors, your body recognizes and utilizes far more efficiently than isolated calcium carbonate found in most pills. In a world where hip fractures from osteoporosis are one of the leading causes of disability and even death in elderly adults, this finding is critically important. Then there is the omega-3 story. The EPA and DHA fatty acids in sardines are potent anti-inflammatory agents, and chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, is now recognized as a primary driver of muscle loss, joint degeneration, and cognitive decline in older adults. A study from the University of Aberdeen found that elderly participants who consumed omega-3 rich small fish like sardines at least 3 times per week showed significantly reduced markers of systemic inflammation and experienced less muscle loss over a 12-month period compared to those who consumed the same amount of protein from meat sources. The researchers specifically noted that the combination of protein plus omega-3s in the same food created a more powerful effect than consuming protein and fish oil supplements separately. To get maximum benefit, choose whole sardines packed in extra virgin olive oil because the combination of omega-3s from the fish and monounsaturated fats from the olive oil creates an enhanced absorption effect. You can eat them straight from the can on whole grain toast with a squeeze of lemon, mash them into a spread with avocado, toss them into pasta, or add them on top of your cooked dark leafy greens for an incredibly powerful meal. The key is to eat the whole sardine, including the bones, which are soft enough to chew easily and are where the majority of the calcium is concentrated. Aim for at least 2 to 3 servings per week, and within just a few weeks, your body will begin to show the compound benefits of this remarkable traditional food. Sardines are phenomenal, but nothing we have covered so far even comes close to the #1 food on this list: slow-cooked lentils and legumes. Finally, the single most powerful traditional food for adults over 75, we have slow-cooked lentils and legumes. And the science behind this choice is so compelling that it is fundamentally reshaping how the world's top longevity researchers think about protein and aging. This is not just another health food trend. This is backed by decades of research from the longest-running population studies ever conducted on human longevity. When Dan Buettner and his team identified the 5 blue zones, the regions where people consistently live the healthiest and longest lives, reaching 90 and 100 at rates 10 times higher than average, they found one dietary factor consistent across every blue zone. That factor was the daily consumption of legumes, particularly lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and fava beans. Not meat, not fish, not dairy. Legumes were the #1 predictor of longevity across all 5 regions. A massive study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition that tracked elderly populations across multiple countries over 7 years found that for every 20 GWE increase in daily legume intake, the risk of death from all causes dropped by approximately 7 to 8%. No other food group came anywhere close to showing that kind of survival benefit. But here is where the story gets truly remarkable for adults over 75 specifically. Researchers at the Jean Mayer USDA Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging at Tufts University conducted detailed analysis of how lentils and legumes interact with the aging body, and what they found explains why traditional cultures that ate these foods daily produce so many strong and healthy elderly people. First, lentils contain a unique combination of protein and resistant starch that creates a slow-release amino acid effect. Unlike meat protein, which is digested in a rapid spike that older bodies often waste, the protein from slow-cooked lentils is released gradually over several hours, giving aging muscle tissue a sustained supply of amino acids for repair and maintenance. This slow, steady delivery matches how elderly muscles actually process protein far better than the fast dump from meat, which is why researchers found the effective muscle-building power of lentil protein in adults over 75 can be dramatically superior to animal sources. Second, lentils are rich in resistant starch, a type of fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. When those good bacteria ferment resistant starch, they produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, which reduces systemic inflammation, strengthens the gut lining, improves immune function, and enhances calcium absorption from everything else you eat. For seniors dealing with age-related gut deterioration or weakened immune systems, this prebiotic effect is incredibly valuable and something no meat product can replicate. Third, lentils are one of the best dietary sources of folate, iron, potassium, and magnesium, all commonly deficient in elderly adults and crucial for heart health, muscle function, and blood pressure regulation. The iron in lentils becomes highly absorbable when combined with vitamin C, which is why traditional preparations almost always pair lentils with tomatoes or lemon juice. This ancient wisdom of food combining has been validated by modern nutritional science again and again. The best way to prepare lentils for maximum benefit is through the traditional slow cooking method. Start by soaking your lentils for at least 4 to 6 hours or overnight, which dramatically reduces the compounds called lectins and phytic acid that can interfere with mineral absorption and cause digestive discomfort. After soaking, drain, and rinse them thoroughly, then add them to a pot with fresh water or bone broth for an incredible synergistic combination. Add aromatics like onions, garlic, turmeric, and cumin, all of which bring their own anti-inflammatory benefits. Cook on low heat for about 45 minutes to an hour until completely tender and almost creamy. That soft, creamy consistency means the cellular structure has been fully broken down, making every nutrient maximally accessible to your digestive system. Finish with a generous squeeze of lemon juice and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil to boost iron and fat-soluble vitamin absorption. The traditional approach is to eat a bowl of lentils or legumes every single day, and based on all the evidence from the blue zones and clinical research, that daily habit may be the single most impactful dietary change any person over 75 can make for their long-term health, strength, and longevity. When you combine the slow-release protein with the prebiotic fiber, the anti-inflammatory compounds, and the dense mineral profile, you get a food that addresses virtually every major nutritional challenge that aging adults face. So, there you have it. 5 traditional foods that science is proving are far more powerful for adults over 75 than conventional meat-heavy dietary advice. From the gut-healing fermentation magic of miso, to the collagen-rich power of real bone broth, to the vitamin-unlocking combination of dark leafy greens cooked in healthy fat, to the complete nutritional profile of whole sardines, and finally to the undisputed longevity champion that is slow-cooked lentils and legumes. Every single one of these foods is affordable, easy to find, simple to prepare, and backed by serious scientific research. The best part is, you do not need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start with 1 or 2 of these foods this week, make them a regular part of your routine, and let the compound benefits build over time. Your bones, your muscles, your joints, your gut, your brain, and your heart will thank you for it. The traditional wisdom of our ancestors is being validated by 21st century science, and now you have the knowledge to put it into action. If this story changed the way you look at the foods in your kitchen, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. We are uncovering the health history and science that often gets overlooked. Let's cultivate a stronger future together. The next treasure of wellness will be revealed soon.